Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make this very simple dress. So the first thing you're going to do, you might need about 2.5 yards of fabric for this style. So I've gone ahead and folded my fabric into two. This is just a fabric folded into two, and then the second one is also folded into two. So this is my front, the smaller one is my front bodice, and then the one with the extra 1.5 is my back bodice. So basically what you're going to do is just to fold this fabric. The width is going to be your hip measurement divided by 4, or the widest part of your body, your hip or your bust, divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch of seam allowance, which is what I have here. The hip I'm working with, the widest part of my body, the hip, divided by 4 is 12, plus extra 1 is 13. So 13 inches is the fold I have here. Then the one at the back has extra 1.5. Also gone ahead and mark from the shoulder to my chest line, which is 10, shoulder to the waist, which is 17, shoulder to the hip, which is 24 for me, and then the end of the dress, which I want to be about 38 or so, which is somewhere here. So after that, the next thing you're going to do is to come up to this shoulder and mark your shoulder measurement divided by 2. My shoulder is 16, divided by 2 is going to be 8. Mark that here. And then I'm going to come down here by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. And then I'm going to also mark 3 inches of neckline is what I'm using for this here. Connect that here, and then connect these two together to get my shoulder slope. And then after that, now I'm going to also go ahead and connect this line, insert my armhole, which is 18, divided by 2 is going to be 9, which happens to be on the same line as my chest line. I'm going to just connect that up to this point here. I'm going to then connect, the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my armhole. So, my bust measurement, which is 42, divided by 4 is going to be 10.5. Mark that here, and then connect it all the way. So, you're also going to check the distance from here to here. So, for me, that's 9. Halfway through that is going to be 4.5. Mark it here. Come in here by half an inch, right? And then you're going to use your curve ruler to connect this point to this point to this point, right? So I'm going to just use my hand, use a curve to connect it to this point, and then use a straight line to connect it to the tip of this. This is for my front armhole, but my back armhole is just going to be this point. Just connect the armhole into this straight line. That's going to be for my back, but for the front, you have to connect it, go in, because the armhole in front is deeper than the one at the back. So after that, now the next thing I'm going to do is to come down to my waistline and divide my waist measurement by 4, which is 34, divided by 4 is 8.5. Mark that here. But I'm going to add extra 1 inch of darting, because I'm going to be darting this dress, and then also 1 inch of seam allowance. And then on this part here, I'm going to just add 1 inch of seam allowance. That's all I need. And then after that, you're going to come down to your hip, divide your hip by 4, and then mark your 1 inch of seam allowance. So that's all I need here. So connect it to this point here. Connect to the waist, and the waist to the bust. So that's basically it. Down here, it depends on you if you're trying to make a pencil dress or a straight dress. It depends on you how you want yours to look. So I might just take away 1 inch here because I want it a little bit pencil, and then connect it to the hip. So that's basically it to cut this here. So I'm going to go ahead and follow this line now, cut it all the way down this way to the end. But once I separate it, then I'll cut out my front armhole. So guys, now that I've marked this here, the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and also cut off my shoulder slope, which is this 1 inch mark that I have here. And then after that, you're going to go ahead and cut out this excess from the front armhole. So guys, as you can see, I've cut out from my front armhole. The next thing now is for the neckline. I'm going to go ahead and cut that too. So guys, I'm going to mark about 1 inch for the back neckline, connect it this way. This is going to be the back neckline. Then for the front neckline, I'm going to mark about 3 inches or 3.5, depending on you. I think I'll do 3.5 because I want it a little bit lower. And then mark that here. So I'm going to cut these two necklines now. So guys, now that I've cut this, I'm going to also go ahead and mark my darts. So to mark my darts, all I have to do, I'm going to start by the waist, divide my waist, my nipple to nipple measurement by 2, and that is going to give me 4. Nipple to nipple measurement for me is about 8 inches divided by 2 is going to give me 4. So I'm also going to extend this line so that I can draw in my dart. I have chest line, waistline, and then the hip line. So what I'm doing here is just the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 plus half an inch is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to mark that here. And then on the bust, nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 plus half an inch, also mark that here, 4.5. So I'm also going to bring down that same 4.5 down here and connect it all in a straight line to the top. But then my dart at the chest is going to stop 1 inch before my chest line, which is here. And then the dart at the lower part is going to stop 2 inches before the hip line, which is here. And then on the waistline, I'm going to mark half an inch on both sides, and then connect my darts this way to this point here and then this point here. Just like that, I have my pencil dress dart here. So this dart will be on the 2 sides of this here, but for the back, the only difference is that my dart at the back is going to extend all the way to the chest line. You see, this is the front body, is where I drew my dart. So you're going to transfer this same dart on the back, but the difference is now that it's going to get to the chest line, right? So it's going to go up to this point, but the one in front stops somewhere here. So that's basically it now. So I'm going to go ahead and start joining mine, but before that, I'm also going to try to split open the back so that I can make room for my zip. So guys, this is my sleeve here. I'm going to also cut that now. So this fabric is also folded into 2. I know you might be looking at it and think it's too long, so let me split it into 2. The length might be long, but this is a puffy sleeve that has a ruffle at the end, and it's almost to this point on her hand. So mine came down, so it depends on you. Measure from your shoulder to the length you want, and then also add your seam allowance and maybe like extra 2 inches, because of this is going to be like a puffy sleeve. It depends on you. So this is the length I'm using. It's approximately 30 inches on the dot, because this is also a puffy sleeve at the top. So I need extra 2 inches by this part here. So mine is about almost 30 inches, 29.5. So guys, this is the sleeve here, 2 of them folded into 2. I turned it to the wrong side so I can be able to mark my chalk. So now the next thing I'm going to do is just to come down here 2 inches. I don't want a lot of puffiness by the shoulder, so I'm just going to do about 2 inches down first, mark 2 inches first, and then mark my sleeve cap height here, so which is 4 inches down here. And then I'm going to connect from this point. The width I have is just my armhole divided by 2. So you're going to connect from this point here. Armhole divided by 2 plus extra 1 inch is what I have here. So I'm going to connect from this point to the tip of this line, this 2 inches line. And then I'm going to mark about halfway through. So for me, halfway through is going to be 6 inches. Mark it here. And then I'm going to draw in my normal sleeve here, a lower curve here, and then curve above. But this curve above doesn't matter, because I'm just going to extend it from this halfway through 6 inches mark. I'm going to just take it up, because this is a puffy sleeve, right? So now I have my sleeve this way. I'm not going to cut anything on the body. The body is just going to retain this line, because down here I'm going to come up by 6 inches down to up to this point, and then use elastic to squish it together. That way I can have this ruffle at the end. So right now all I have to do is just to go ahead and cut this top part here and notch the tip of the shoulder. So guys, this is the sleeve here. So first thing I'm going to do is just to pick my darts and then join the shoulder of my clothes together, and then we'll come back and deal with how we are going to attach the sleeve and how to attach the elastic on the sleeve. So guys, the next thing you're going to do for the sleeve is, you see the elastic I'm using, just enough to go around my cuff and have some space, and then you're going to use it, place it on this here. As you can see, I marked halfway through the elastic, and then I know halfway through the cloth, and then I'm going to place halfway of both of them between here, and then I'm going to pull this to the end and sew it with a straight stitch, and then pull this one to the end and sew it with a straight stitch. Then it will gather this together. As you can see, I've marked a straight line already, 4 inches above this part. If you want, you can do 5 inches, it depends on you, but 4 inches is okay for me. So you see what mine is when after doing that. So this is the end of my sleeve. So once I close it up like this, it will look something like this for the opening of the sleeve. So now all I have to do is to go ahead and put in this top part to the top of the sleeve. And then also for the body of the dress, so that we can be able to do the neckline, I'm yet to put the dart, but before that I already went ahead and cut about 3 inches down this neckline here. If you want, you can make yours longer, but I don't want this to be visible when I tie the necktie. So I just use 3 inches, but you can bring yours down a little bit if you want. After tying the necktie, you can still see the slit at the neckline here. I just want the necktie to be able to cover this slit. I don't want it visible, so that's why I did just 3 inches here. So now, and then I cut out this small piece of fabric to cover it, and then I sewed it like a V across it. So now I'm going to split this back open again. This is just to help me as a facing to cover this. So now what I have to do, I've opened it back again. I'm going to just use this now, tuck it in. So this is just a piece of fabric that I cut out, placed it on top, and then sewed it round. So all I have to do now is just to tuck this inside here. So tuck it inside here, iron it down, or even if you want, you can top stitch it. Before, this is my front neckline before we go ahead and put in the rope. So once you put in the rope from the back, it's going to come up and end at this end here. That is 2 sides in front and 2 sides at the back, right? So I finished the bottom of this dress. You can make yours shorter, you can make yours longer. So mine is just right above the knee a little bit, and then this is the sleeve here. So guys, now we are going to go ahead and finish up the necktie. So what I did here was just to cut out the fabric I need for the tie, and the length I'm using here, you can use more than this, but the length I'm using is, so guys, the length I have here is about 41 is what I have here. So basically all I did was just to sew the edge of this and then flip it inside out, but I didn't sew it to the very end. As you can see, these ends are still open, and the width I have here is 5 inches, because when I fold in half an inch on this side and half an inch on the other side and close it up, I want to have about 2 inches length for the length of this thing, of the tie. But it depends on you. If you don't want yours the length to be that much, then you can reduce it and do maybe 4.5 inches. So now all I have to do is just right from the edge of this here. So guys, you see what I did here? I didn't sew it all the way like how you normally make your belt and sew it all the way close to the edge. I stopped somewhere here, just enough to put this end here. You see how I finished up my neckline here? That piece here, I just folded it in and made this V here on front. So all I have to do is just right where this tie stops, I'm going to insert one side of this inside of this part, inside of this tie, and then sew it down all the way to the back. Guys, if you want, you can measure yours before you start sewing, just so that you know that what you have left can go all the way from the front neckline back to the edge of the zip, because this is going to fit inside of the zip. This necktie is going to be part of our zip. So you have to make sure that when you go to sew yours, measure and make sure that what you have is enough, except you want to cut off the rest once you get to the edge of this. But if you don't want to do that, make sure that when you're sewing it close, you sew close, but just leave the right amount from this point here all the way to the back. So that's how you're going to sew it. And then you're supposed to have 2 of it, 1 for each side. So there's 1 for this side, and then there's 1 for the other side, right? So after that, you go ahead and insert your zip at the back. Let me show you guys what the back of mine looks like at the moment. So guys, you see the back here? So once I go ahead now and insert this necktie, I'm also going to put in my zip. You see how long my zip is? Because it's going to go all the way to the necktie and then down to the waist here. So that's basically it. I'm going to do mine now and bring it back so you guys could see. Yeah, so you see how my necktie is? I've joined the 2 of them together like this. So that's basically it. You see the back, it has the zip going down at the center back all the way to where the collar is. So all you have to do is just to tie it together this way, or anyhow you want to tie it. So you see the reason why I made this opening here is just so that I can be able to put in this tie. so they both got this like separate ways this way. So guys, see the bottom of the dress, this is the sleeve of the dress. Yeah. And then you see it just has a little puffiness by the shoulder, just that 2 inches I used. I didn't want to do too much, so that's basically it here. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share and subscribe. Bye.